Hello and welcome back to the Half Thumb Homestead. So we have a bad fitting in our sprinkler system. I took this off because it was all bent crooked and you can see there it's cracked. And that was the bottom piece down there. So I bought a new one, put it in, and it was stripped out. So the threads in that fitting are no good. So we're going to do a repair on this. I'm going to show you how to do it without having to dig up 6 feet in each direction. We're going to dig out probably about 1 foot in front of this towards me. Could go towards the house as well. We'll just see how. I got to cut this root again if I go towards me. It's a big pain in the butt. But we'll do a 90-degree repair. We'll come out, go over, back in, and slice it in. It makes it a lot easier, and it's the way I do it. Alright, there's a couple different ways you can do this. Now, I went to the local hardware store and I purchased the glue and a couple of fittings here. So you're going to have to imagine PVC inside this, right? So I could not find a 3/4 with the 3/4 threaded on it. So I had to buy this adapter. So I can go from 3/4 to the threaded piece of that pipe. So what I'm going to do is, the pipe's coming in this way. We'll use this guy for reference here. So the pipe's coming in this way, right? You have dirt here and dirt here. So it's covered in dirt. You can't get into it. You don't want to dig like I said, a 6-foot hole. So I'm going to take this guy. I'm going to splice in this way. This is where the threads will be. I'll take another 90. If you're just fixing a pipe, you don't need to do all this other stuff. You can just get 4 90s and a piece of pipe and you're good to go. I'm going to 90 this guy over here. I'm going to come off probably about 6 inches or 4 or 5 inches or so this direction. This one will be glued together. So I'll go inside the hole. I'll glue this one. I'll glue this one. These 2 stand pipes will either be glued in here with this one, or they'll be glued here just sticking out. So this will be the last piece I have to put in, this piece that's glued together, right? So I can go in there, I can put these 2 90s in, I can take this guy, glue it in, and my circuit's complete. That is the easiest way I can say how to do it. I call it a 90-degree repair, just so you don't have to dig up, like I said, 2.5, 4, 6, 8 feet on each side, so you can flex the pipe up to get your fitting in there, because that's incredibly difficult. A lot of digging. This is a lot less digging. Really quick, really easy, and a small hole. Let's go get into it, I guess. So I'm going to prep stuff in here first. I'm going to glue, I just cut out a little 1-inch piece here to go inside here as a splice plate to go to the 3/4 inch threaded. And then I will have 2 equal pieces that are going to go in here. And then once I get it installed, I'll know the gap measurement of where this piece needs to be. So I'll be able to glue these together in here, and then I can go out and just put them right on. I'll be completely done as soon as I thread the standoff. So that gray piece I have, I don't know what they call it, but it's in this case, it's a 36-inch piece of pipe with threads in the end. And it just threads, well, I guess it doesn't. I got the wrong one, so. Or did I? Sure did. Let's not glue that sucker in. Let's figure out what I got going on here first before I start. This might be this guy. Okay. So that is a 3/4. I'm sure I've got one laying around. Let me look for one. So great news, I don't have to go back to the hardware store. I do have the fitting in my PVC bucket. So it is 1/2 inch thread, not 3/4. So we're gonna take this guy back, use this one. Same thing though. Gonna glue these two together, and then we'll go out and we'll cut the pipe, and then we'll cut our distance here, glue this in, or glue those in, then glue that in. So it just got a lot easier, a lot less gluing. So we'll start by gluing these two guys in here. Now this container is made for something with a lot. It's got a big giant nub in it here, so little dabble do ya. Stuff's cheap, so don't be scared to use it. Put it in, little 1/4 inch twist, let it dry. Now, some guys will use the primer. I've never in my life used primer. I've never had an issue, but there's always that first time. So if you'd like to use primer, have at it. Push all in, 1/4 turn twist. And then when the hole, you won't be able to twist it, is what it is, right? So these two will dry while we go out and cut that piece in the flower bed. Just a basic PVC cutter here. I don't think they're more than 15 bucks. You get this, and I got that one, and maybe it comes with a couple. There's what you can actually buy a kit for sprinkler repair that has a wedge in it to get fittings out of these pieces, and I'll put that in the link below. Most everything I use here I'll put in the link below so you can check it out if you want. The links will be Amazon, but like I said, you can get any of this stuff at a local hardware store. So I'm going to have to dig out a little bit more going towards the tree root here. Look, see, the fitting is real close to the edge, so I'll probably go another 6 inches. I may just try to dig underneath the root because I've already cut it out. It's not going to grow anymore. But I'm putting the piece of PVC pipe in here, the old one, because I don't want dirt to get in the line before I cut it. Not sure if I'll bore you while I dig it. It's going to be a lot more difficult with that guy in the way. So I may just shove a rag in there. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to get rid of this guy out of the way. I'm going to get a rag and stuff a rag in that piece of pipe here. Then I'll dig it down and dig it out. Alright, so I dug out some more. I went this way here. So this one's going to go in this side over here. And it should give me more than enough room on the front here to put this stuff in. Now when I cut this piece off, I'm going to cut it as close as I can to this fitting. I don't want to cut too much out of it, especially on the right over here, on my right, because I don't have a lot of room. So we got to get a good surface area on this so we don't cut it at an angle. So both these jaws are going to have to go flat against the PVC. You don't want to do it like that because it'll cut crooked. So we're going to get over here, make the jaws. Now I believe this is probably schedule 20, and I'm changing it with schedule 40. So as you cut, give a little twist on it to start the cut, otherwise it'll shatter on you, and that's the last thing you want it to do, is to crack. All right, it's one side. We have a lot more room to play with on this side, but again, we're going to cut as little as possible out here because we can always cut more. It is schedule 20. I can see it flex. So see that little twist I just did right there? That keeps it from shattering. There's our bad fitting. Now I'm sure you can see in this photo here, I have this root coming up. So I may have to go a little bit farther this way to get on the other side of it. Now, one thing you want to make sure you do before you glue is make sure your pipe's clean. You don't want it to be nasty and dirty, because then the glue won't stick very well. I could bring my chainsaw out,
which I might do and shave this guy down. Again, this is probably the standard you're going to have when you go and work in a flower bed. You're going to have roots everywhere. Now this big giant magnolia behind me is not helping at all. But I'm just getting some water out of the pipe here that's in the pipe to help me clean it. See how much cleaner that is? And you also want to try and get the water out of the pipe that's in there, and you can push down, it'll drain out. Because that water will hamper your ability for your glue to stick. I mean, I think the glue displaces the water a little bit, but so if I put this fitting on there right now, that root's going to be in the way. So I'm going to bring my chainsaw in. I'm going to plug both these ends, and I'm just going to shave it down. Remember, if you're using a chainsaw, the blade's worst friend is dirt and rocks. They don't like it. And I just have a little electric one, DeWalt. Alright, so I brought my chainsaw in and I cut down a little bit on it. This guy here, I did realize that I must have gone in the dirt because it is duller than heck. So I got out these giant clod cutter guys, and I was able to trim it down enough to where this is not going to affect me. However, I did hit it with the chainsaw and it chipped this end out, so I have to go a little wider. And this is where you got to be real careful because it will flex quite a bit. So make sure you score the pipe as you cut to keep it from shattering. See that? So had I continued just squeezing it, it would have squeezed down and shattered right across there, and I would have to keep cutting back farther and farther. It is incredibly hot out here right now. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to glue in these two pieces this way, like so. Of course, I'm going to clean the pipe off again. Cut out all these roots that are in the way here. These little teeny ones. These things are awesome, by the way. Cut everything. Everything. It's in the way. Alright. Clean our hole out. You want to be probably about 1.5 inches or so, or 1 inch below this other pipe, so you can get your fitting on there. One last cleaning of the pipe. Let that dry for a moment. And go get our glue. So we're putting in this piece here. I've already glued it. Remember, you don't have a whole lot of work time with this. Just want to make sure it's pretty much straight when you put it in. So I'm doing the fitting piece first. Get glue on that. And then I'm going around the other pipe here. And insert it at a kind of a 45. And then twist it to where it's straight. So as you can see, my two pipes coming out. So what I'll do now is I will take my other two 90s and I'll set them inside here. I won't push them in too far, but I'll start them. You have roughly 3/4 of an inch or so to the recess in there where your pipe's going to sit. So what we're looking for is just our gap in between them here. So we'll put the two together like so, right? And then we'll measure from probably a 1/2 inch in to a 1/2 inch in, and that's the piece of a splice piece we'll need to put in there to make up the gap right here. And then we'll glue this in the shop, and we'll come out here and we'll glue this guy right back on. We'll wait roughly an hour and we'll leak check it. So I have to get my tape measure, taking my measurement. Alright, so we're getting our measurement here. It looks like it's going to be, if we go corner to corner here, I'll start with a 2. It's going to be 1.5 inches. So we'll actually cut it down to 1 3/8 inches. And that should be our gap cover. So I got my pipe here just to see if it's going to work or not. You know, I like to measure once, cut 3 times, and then have to start over. So this is our piece, our splice piece, and it's going to fit in there pretty good. Even if it goes in farther, we could do 1.5 inches because I think it'll go inside a little farther. So we have extra, so we'll go a little bit bigger. Remember, you only get one shot at this. So once you end up cutting this and gluing it together, you're done. So that's schedule 40, schedule 20. It's half the thickness, less than half the pressure. I think this schedule 40 can go up to like 300 psi. I don't think that the schedule 20 can go over 100. So this is the piece we're going to use here. It goes right in there. So we have a little bit of flex back and forth with this. So we can pull these guys off now. Go back in the shop and do it, or we can do it out here. We're just going to do it out here now. So it makes it easier on me. One special note is when you're done using your glue, make sure you put the lid on. Because the last thing you need is to spill your glue everywhere. And if you've used this stuff 6 months ago and you come out to do another job, it's going to be dried up. So always buy a new can. This is just like a month. I used it a month ago and it's almost dried up. So that's half of it. So we made a U-channel here. And that's just going to go on right here like this. Distance is a little bit short, but we can flex a little bit of the pipe to give us what we're looking for. So we'll glue this and stick it in as well. Got some dirt on it there. Take this. There you have it. Then we take our new gray pipe and thread it in there. Put our sprinkler head on it. And in about an hour we'll come here and we'll leak check it and make sure it doesn't leak. So we're going to thread on our piece of our PVC extension here. I'm using thread tape. I don't think the sprinkler guys when they originally installed this used thread tape, and that's why I had the leak, and that's why the root ended up going after it. So when you're doing this thread tape, you want to go away from you like so and go around, so when you put it on, it'll actually tighten. You don't want to do more than one loop though, because I think these are pipe threads and they kind of spread anyway. So we're going to make sure that this threads in nice and easy. Alright. It's beautifully straight. Then we're going to take our sprinkler fitting from the old sprinkler head and we'll just thread it on. We don't need to put thread tape on this one, because if it leaks, we'll see it. And you got these bunch of hash marks on it. That's where your water's squirting out. So we'll turn that to where it's perpendicular with the house. All that's left now is leak check. Here's a kind of a little photo of what I've done, used all day today in that repair. Used a keyhole saw to cut some of those roots out. I know it's not what it's made for, but it's what I had along with my chainsaw for the bigger ones. PVC pipe cutter, PVC pipe, tape measure, glue, and just a good pair of tree trimming. These things cut everything, they're great. And a little bit of thread tape. Look below in the description for all the stuff I've used today. Like, subscribe, have thumb out.